Good evening. We are still focusing on the message to the church in Smyrna from Revelation 2, verses 8 to 11. In this letter, it is pointed out to us that some of the Jews were responsible for slandering the Christians. They handed the Christians over to the Roman authorities to be persecuted by, for example, pointing out that the Christians didn't partake in honoring the Caesar as a god. Verse 9 says, I know your afflictions and your poverty, yet you are rich. I know the slander of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are a synagogue of Satan. If we think back to the first chapter of Revelation and the vision of Christ amongst the lampstands, we remember that there we found a clear reference to the book of Daniel, and the vision that Daniel had of someone like the Son of Man amongst the clouds, ruling over all of the nations. And now, if we think of how the Christians in Smyrna was persecuted because they would not honor the gods of the day and honor the ruler of the day as a god, there's once again a reference, or a reminder at least, to Daniel and his friends living in Babylon. When Daniel and his friends would not bow before the king of Babylon, honoring him as a god, Daniel was thrown into the lion's den. Daniel's friends were thrown into the blazing furnace. They showed themselves as true Jews, true Israelites who weren't willing to sacrifice their obedience to God by bowing to anything else or anyone else, even if it would cost their lives. In this message to the believers in Smyrna, it is rather ironic then that now it's not the heathen king handing them over to persecution, but the Jews themselves. And in this, the Jews show themselves as being false Jews. John says they're part of the synagogue of Satan. There wasn't an actual synagogue of Satan. It's a metaphor that says that they were doing the actual work of Satan of persecuting the church. At the same time, the believers in Smyrna was proving and showing themselves as being part of the true spiritual Israel. People that devoted their lives to honoring God and serving Him alone as the only living God. They, the church of the New Testament, were living as Israel was supposed to live from the beginning. In this, we see how the promise to Abraham, the covenant promise that God made, saying that Abraham in his lineage would be a blessing to all of the nation, how that promise has been fulfilled, because now there's a church, a New Testament church, honoring God, a church compiled out of people from all nations, all living to the honor of God. Good evening.